Hello, and welcome to the Delusional Boyfriend Book Club. My name is Courtney.
I'm Phoebe.
And today we're talking about the first book in the St. View Rebel series, Rebel Revenge. Our tropes for this story are going to be...
reverse harem, of course, obviously. So that's going to be an MMFM. Step-siblings, kind of. Biker gang / motorcycle club, sex club, and murder mystery, of course. And this is a dark romance. There are some trigger warnings for this. Right off the bat, there's SA for sure. That's like how the last epilogue ended going into this series. So that's a huge topic in this. So big time if that's a trigger for you, this might not be the series for you.
Yes, and just to piggyback off of that, the sexual assault in question is a gang rape. So it's kind of as dark and awful as you can get.
Yeah.
So just know that going into this story. And to give you a very brief overview of the other stories we've covered by this author, the first trilogy that we read was St. View Prison, which is about a wrongly convicted man and the prison break to get him out, to free him.
Yeah.
And that is a reverse harem, much like the next one we read in the series, which was St. View Psychos. And St. View Psychos is about a sex club and a murder mystery as well. And at that sex club, we have a bartender, and the bartender's name is Rebel. At the end of the last book, we had our villain of the story being left to live, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And he does take Rebel and attacks her with two of his friends. So we left off the last series with everyone else having closure, their stories getting wrapped up, but Rebel's wounds being ripped fresh open. So we start this book with her assault, and that's kind of the full breakdown of those last two series. A very quick spoiler-free summary of this is the story is called Rebel's Revenge. We're going to get revenge on those people who attacked her at the end of the last book. So that's where we are if you haven't read this yet. And
if you haven't read St. View Psychos, you don't have to, but you definitely should, because there's a lot of character crossover. There's a lot of backstory that comes from that series for Rebel that's important to this series. And the main conflict in this series, you will get more out of who the villain is if you read last series. So definitely advise you read St. View Psychos. Also, it's so good. And
we have one character, Vincent, who has been in all three of these trilogies. So it's kind of fun to know who we're talking about. But like you said, if you have to read St. View Psychos and St. View Rebels together, you don't really have to read Prison if you don't want to.
Yeah.
But I do highly suggest that you read all of the books by this author. We're going to be covering them for the rest of the year. So if you haven't read at this point and you don't want any spoilers, it's your time to pause the podcast, go catch up, and come back and meet us. And while we're at it, please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're listening to the podcast. If you're on YouTube, subscribing there helps a lot. And if you're on a podcast app, make sure that you click auto download on the episodes. That way you never miss, especially if we have a bonus episode coming out that's not on the 5th, the 15th, or the 25th. So yes, please rate, review, subscribe, and follow us on our socials. And with that being said, we're going to jump straight in to Rebel Revenge, the full plot breakdown.
Okay, so our important characters to note, we've got Rebel, obviously, she's our FMC. Then we have Fang, Vaughn, and Kian. Those are going to be our MMCs for the book. We've got Rebel's mom and Vaughn's dad, who end up being our murder victims. And then we have Vaughn's mom and stepdad, who are also there at the courthouse when everybody dies. We have Brooke, who is Vaughn's wife. We have Caleb, who's the villain, and crew, who all rape Rebel. It's really awful. Then we have Kara, who we don't meet till later in the book, but she's very important. And then we've got Bliss, War, Nash, and Vincent from our last series. They only make an appearance once in this book, but they will be in the future books. Rebel and Bliss are besties, and Rebel works for Bliss and Nash at the bar that they own together. So they will make an appearance for sure throughout this series. So they are important. So we jump right back in. We are 3 days post-attack on Rebel. She's hanging out in her apartment. She is obviously bruised up, traumatized, freaked out. She lives in a shithole apartment in St. View. So the opening scene is kind of her, and she blackmails her gun dealing neighbor to give her a gun because she doesn't have money. She has an eviction notice on her apartment. Shit is bad for her. And that's the scene that we set. So,
and she's like both considering killing herself and killing the people who have attacked her. And she's in this really dark headspace where she doesn't quite know what she's going to decide yet when she gets a call from her mom.
Her mom shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah, to her apartment. And she's like, I'm getting married. And Rebel's like, what? Who? To who? And so it's this big bomb. She's getting married. She's getting married in a couple days. And she wants Rebel to be her person at the courthouse. They're just doing a quick courthouse wedding, but she loves Bart. This is her person. She thinks Rebel's really going to like him. And she needs Rebel to be there for her because Rebel's her girl. And they're super, like, close in age. I think that Rebel says her mom has her at, like, 13 or something. Really young. So she kind of became the mom of their relationship very early. So that gives you it's like a good little glimpse into how Rebel has become who she is.
And also nobody knows about the attack on Rebel. She's keeping it completely to herself. So her mom doesn't know that she's just been completely traumatized. So the pacing in this story for me was very fast. But also if you're trying to keep something like this secret from people, then I guess you can't just like hole up in your apartment forever. If people expect to see you out and about, then it's going to be very obvious something's wrong with you if you don't get back out there. So she does agree to get back out there and help her mom with the wedding.
And so we're also in this state of mind where Fang and Rebel hook up in the last book. And there's a bonus scene if you want to read about what happens after he spanks her at the clubhouse in Psychos. There's a bonus scene on her website so you can read what happens after that between them, which is great. Fang is still totally pining over Rebel, but he knows Rebel like doesn't want to be tied down. And Rebel is low-key pining over Fang, but also has this, she went home with Caleb because she was mad at Fang.
Yeah.
So she has this like, she's mad at him because of the personal choices that his actions led her to make that led to this horrible trauma for her. So she's got a little bit of resentment towards him right now and resentment towards herself because she's like, I can't be in a relationship, but he's great, blah, blah, blah. So that's what's going on with them. And so Rebel's mom wants her to meet Bart, who she's marrying, and we find out they go to dinner. She goes to meet them for their dinner reservation. Her mom doesn't show up. Bart doesn't show up. Her mom calls her. Sorry, we're not going to make it, but Bart's son is there. She's like, Bart has a son and you should go meet him. And so she says this, and there's this really hot guy sitting next to Rebel at the bar. He's wearing a motorcycle jacket. He's tall, lean, dark hair. And she hates him. And he's like, you're like a little cockroach. And she's like, I fucking hate this guy. I wish he would stop talking to me. And then her mom describes Vaughn's son as kind of like a nerdy guy. And so there's a guy across the bar that looks like a nerd. She goes and introduces herself to him. It's really weird. And she leaves. And then the next morning they're going to the courthouse. She's getting a taxi to go to the courthouse for the wedding. And the fucking guy from the bar that was sitting next to her crawls in and he's like, what's up, Roach? And she's like, who are you? Why are you bothering me? And it turns out that's Bart's son. And there's all of this like sexual tension between them. Even though Rebel is in a state where she has no interest in that, she also is in a state where all men are making her feel uncomfortable. And for some reason, this person is not. And that she's noticing that.
Yeah, like when they were at that restaurant, when he was talking to her, he was kind of instigating her, but she wasn't getting that weird vibe from him. And then she introduces herself to this random nerd thinking that's going to be her new stepbrother. And she does get a really weird vibe from him.
And she hates it.
So clearly all other men are giving her the creeps, except for this one guy who happens to be following her to the courthouse to this wedding because their parents are marrying each other. So he's like, oh, you're going to be my new stepsister, which is where we get this stepbrother, stepsister dynamic.
Yeah. But they only know each other for 1 hour before they become step-siblings.
Yes.
So it's not like weird.
It's not weird. And they're both adults and they, absolutely zero relation. She's never even met his dad before. She never even met her stepdad.
These are all new people.
Yeah.
So then we're at the courthouse. Bart and her mom show up and they seem like they're wasted. They're like stumbling. They're kind of slurring their words. Everyone's like, how much have you had to drink? And they're both adamant that they have had no alcohol. And they're like, should we stop the wedding? They're like, no, I need to marry him today. And so they get married. And seconds after they like kiss the bride, her mom drops to the floor. Everyone's giving her like emergency attention. They're doing CPR on her, and all of a sudden Bart drops dead too.
And I'm just like, this is 20 pages in. What the hell?
Yeah, so that is going to be our murder mystery, is that Bart and Miranda have been killed at seconds after their wedding. So, and we don't know what happened.
And when they missed that dinner, they missed it because she calls her mom and she's like, are you not going to show up to this dinner? And her mom is like, no, Bart just took a Viagra and now his boner won't go down. So we just have to ride this out.
Yeah.
So we know that they took Viagra at least. They say that when she was like, are you guys drunk? They're like, we haven't had anything to drink. So we're like, okay.
They think they're drugged or something.
They must be drugged.
Yeah.
Part of me is like, oh, was there something wrong with that? Like Viagra, but only he took it. So I'm trying to like connect the dots at this point already. But basically Fang shows up at that right at the end of the wedding.
Yeah, because Miranda had asked Rebel to ask the guys if they could do a motorcycle send-off for her and Bart, because Bart really wanted to ride on a motorcycle, which is adorable.
Cute.
Such an adorable, like,
he's
old
really cute.
White nerd guy.
And he's like really rich.
Yeah, super rich guy. And so Fang had been there, and he finds Rebel freaking out, and he takes Rebel back to the clubhouse with him to comfort her, and he turns on a shower for her, and when she gets out of the shower, he freaks out, and she's like, what is going on? And then she realizes that she washed all her makeup off, which was covering all the bruises that are all over her face. And her face is bruised really badly. Fang is freaking out, and he's like, I'm gonna kill them. And she puts her foot down and she says, no, you're not, because I am. And this is why the book is titled Rebel's Revenge. So basically, we're now knowing that Rebel wants to kill these 3 men that attacked her, and that is the driving force of this book, and it's good. Because fuck Caleb. I fucking hate that guy so much.
And I will say, if you listen to our other episodes from the last series, I was like, oh my god, Rebel is going to be my favorite character no matter what. And then like, it's just so quickly, she was like my favorite character from the last series, and I love her so much. I love her motivation. I love her spunk. I love her personality. I like everything about this character so much. I like her voice.
It's really fun because even though I think Rebel's the most confident person and she's the most like confident in her skin and who she is that we've had as an FMC so far in the St. View world, which is so fun, even though that confidence has been shaken a little bit by this attack, obviously, as any woman or human being would be. But it is so fun to kind of have, when she has her moments of being herself, she's so like, yeah, I got these tiny tits. They're amazing. Don't you want to hold them? It's great. Like, I love.
I love everything about her personality. I will say that there were certain moments when the author was writing for her where I was like, oh, I like this character so much. I don't believe that she would say Christ on a cracker. I like her so much that I've like conjured up my own ideas about her personality. And so sometimes something like that would happen where I'd just be like, no, she would say like she says fark when she gets out of bed. And I was like, fark? She would just say fuck. Like, this is our baddie. But anyways, that aside, I think
that she's such a quirky person that she actually would do shit like that. And that's what makes her like such a well-rounded character. She's not so predictable.
She's not so predictable, but I am just like...
And she's like a little weirdo. I love it.
She's a total weirdo. She's definitely, absolutely my favorite character.
Yeah.
Right. Immediately right off the bat.
Yeah, you loved her last series.
Yes.
Yeah, and you will love her throughout this series.
I'm very, very happy to be in her series.
Yeah, it's great. So after this happens with Fang, she tells him she wants her revenge, and he kind of concedes like, okay, I have, like, if I want her to be in my life, I have to let her do this. And he is totally in love with her. Like, we find out immediately once we're in his perspective that he's been in love with Rebel.
For a year.
Yeah. So he's deep in it, and he's kind of like willing to do anything for her because he loves her so much. And so that's his state of mind. And it's really important to know that going into the rest of the book because he's such a simp.
And also, I will say this, like, Fang's character design, he's, like, the biggest man we've seen in any of these books so far. He has long hair. He has beard. He's described...
He's, like, low-key scary looking?
Yeah, he's described as having a face only a mother could love. And he, like... he talks about how all the other women are like cower in fear from him, except for Rebel, who is this, he calls her Pixie Pix. And
yeah, because she's tiny, she's got a pixie cut hair style anyways, and she flits around and she has like super high energy.
And he can't pin her down and he can't hold her down. She's like this little pixie, and he's just like, she's the only one who's never scared of me. And I will say, like, everything about his character design, the fact that he's covered in scars and tattoos and he's kind of ugly and he's big and tall.
But he's like also a huge softie. I love, right? Love.
And I knew I was going to love him from the spanking scene from the last one.
Yeah.
And I was just like, ooh, when am I going to get that big, ugly motherfucker back here? And his big dick. I know he's just got this huge dick.
Yeah, of course.
So I will say, like, Rebel and Fang, right off the bat, I'm just like, oh, yes.
Yeah,
and
here for it.
I do really like, in the last two, the women weren't really sexually liberated until they'd, like, gotten their reverse harems and gotten everything they wanted.
And she's already like that.
Rebel's already like that, which I really like, is that she's already just mature, knows herself, knows what she wants, knows what to ask for. All of that is not part of her story.
Yeah.
So I love that that's where we meet her, because, like, that's where we are at in our lives. So I have a less hard time relating to that than I do to somebody who's like, oh, no Rebel's touched my butthole before.
Rebel reminds me of you. I think I like it a lot.
I really like Rebel, and I really love Fang, and I actually, everybody across the board I like. So let's get to them, because I do like all the characters.
Yeah, right. They're fun. Okay, so Rebel finds out that Bart has left her half of his estate, which Vaughn is immediately like, oh my God, she murdered our parents because she's getting half of this estate. And I need all of the estate because my shithole wife, Brooke, has spent all my money, all my trust fund. My life is a shit show, and I need the money to pay off her debts so she doesn't get murdered, which, okay, that's cool. He has no feelings for her except that he doesn't want her to die.
Yes.
Which is respectful, I suppose. But we all know our girl Rebel is not a murderer.
Not a murderer. And she's like, I don't even want half of everything. Yeah. I need somewhere to live.
She's like,
I'm
I need
about
somewhere
to
to
get
live.
evicted.
And so he leaves to go do something, and she moves all her shit into the house, which is incredible. And we have, right before this, we meet Kian. And Kian is the groundskeeper for the estate. / he grew up with Vaughn. His dad was the groundskeeper before, and he was a kid, and they lived together. And Vaughn and him obviously have some sort of sexual history. Vaughn did something shitty. Kian's hilarious. He's also a big dude. Like, he's not quite as big as Fang, but he's big. He's a fighter. Like, he fights.
He's a boxer.
Yeah, he's like a boxer. And he is a redhead, which I love. Just like a beefy redhead.
I did not realize he was a redhead.
Does that ruin things for you?
Yes. No, he's not a redhead. In my mind, he has brown hair.
He can have brown hair in your mind.
He does
have
brown hair.
And I think canonly he's
It's just
ginger.
like, he's like an auburn to me. Like, it can have like a tiny red undertone. That's all. That's all. Moving along, because that's not canon for me.
But he is obvious. Like, immediately he's got a bright, bubbly personality. Not the same as Rebel, but super fun. He reminds me of me.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of like up for whatever. And he's like, yeah, you're fun. I like you. We're cool. We're roommates. And he immediately also sees that Rebel has some like trauma with men and puts locks on the inside of both of her doors so that she can have privacy. And it makes her feel safe immediately. And it makes us immediately as the reader, like, we're so down for Kian. We love him.
And also because she had taken Polaroids of her injuries. So he found them. So he doesn't just have an idea. He sees
knows.
Exactly. And he's like, what the fuck happened? And she's like, oh, these men attacked me. He's like, should I kill him? And she's like, don't worry, I'll take care of it.
Yeah, she's like, no, I'm going to
kill them. So that is like, he's right away in on this. And it's kind of funny because she's told by one of the people at the bar, they're like, well, squatters have rights. So if you go squat in the house, he can't kick you out unless he gives you notice and everything. So she shows up to the house, and this guy's already living there, the groundskeeper. And she's like, well, basically, let's both just squat here then. And he's like, I can help you with that.
They basically are like, it's us against Vaughn.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm kind of mad at Vaughn anyways.
Yeah,
so
like, we're a team. Let's team up against Vaughn, which is it's so fun. Such a fun dynamic.
Yep.
And then they have like an altercation with Vaughn, and she's pissed during this altercation. And so Kian takes her to the St. View fights. And he's like, you can get some aggression out here, which we haven't covered. Like, we didn't read St. View High together, but if you have read St. View High, I have, this is kind of a callback to that. Colt is a fighter.
Okay.
Like, he was a fighter there. That's why, like, him and Banjo and Rafe and Lacey are all there.
Okay.
Because he used to be a fighter there. And that's, like, a pretty important plot line for that series.
Okay.
So this is kind of a callback to that, a little way to have them interjected into the story, because it's always fun to see your friends from the old series. And so we see them, and Kian and Rebel run into Fang. And Fang's like, what are you doing here? And then they both guys get kind of territorial over Rebel. And then Keen's like, I brought her here to fight. And Fang is so upset about that. And she's like, no, I need to learn how to protect myself, but not tonight. Like, I'm not ready for the ring. And then the boys decide they can both train Rebel. And then they decide, they're like, I'll train you. No, I'll train her. And so then they decide to fight each other. And the winner gets to train Rebel. And during the fight, Fang comes to the realization that it was the night that all of this went down was the night that he left Rebel at the bar because he was jealous. And so then he has all this guilt and he stops fighting back and he gets the shit beat out of him.
Fang basically is like, if the best man needs to win this fight to train Rebel.
I'm not the best man.
I'm not the best man. I'm the reason for her trauma. I should let him kill me basically so that I can relieve myself of this guilt. And she jumps in the ring and she's like,
get off.
No, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
You don't get to punish yourself for what somebody else did to me.
Yeah, it's not your fault.
It's not your fault.
And so that is kind of her moment of being like, no, it's really not his fault, even though she had been kind of had this resentment towards him anyways. So her resentment's gone when she sees him realize it. And she's like, no, it's not his fault. And so she storms off knowing he'll follow her. And then that leads to a hot hookup in the shadows up against an old gross building probably, which is great because this is the first time we see Rebel feeling comfortable, feeling safe with somebody. And
the whole thing for me was paced way too quickly. I was like, this is a week after she's been gang raped. Her parents are dead. She is...
I think at this point it's like 2 weeks later. But yeah, this is a trauma response for sure.
But the whole thing to me, I was just like, I needed there to be like a month before she got over the gang rapes and then her parents dying and then a month after her parents dying before she fucks anybody.
We're in St. View, baby girl.
It's not going to happen like that. But I will say that like, if you also were like, whoa, the pacing was a little crazy. I also felt like it was a little crazy, but this is St. View. There's all these murders happening. The least unbelievable thing is that Rebel can get wet after all this. Like, there's
and
all
also
this other
like
shit
happening. And I don't know. Like, I have not experienced sexual assault. I don't know how people cope with that. I think that it happens both ways for people.
I think that on top of this, her mom dying immediately, it's just like, it compacted it for me where I'm like, the last thing she's going to be noticing is how a guy's dick looks when she accidentally runs into him and he's in the bathtub. Like, so there's some moments of unbelievability for me.
Except if you did that, you would notice.
I literally, if my mom had just died, I would not. I would just be like on a puddle on the ground somewhere else. Like none of this would be happening.
But I think also it's like I think their relationship is not.
It like either way, the pacing for me
is fast.
It was too fast. And I wish there would have been a little bit of a time skip, which I've said in the other stories as well. Right after Jayla dies in prison, I was like,
everything's a trauma response.
I know, but that's only like an excuse if it works for that character. But it's every character we've met so far has been able to get over the death of a loved one within 24 hours and have sex with somebody else. And it's just like, okay, so not one person is having the grief response to like take a step back and like, so that for me is a little bit unbelievable. But like I said, this is St. View. We have rival motorcycle gangs. We have corrupt police officers. Like
bad shit be happening
in the world. And credit to the author because this author is from Australia and they're setting this story in America. And in a way, like America kind of is the Wild West. Like anything can kind of happen. And there are places in America where there's this much crime. And I kind of like that the author is just taking the liberty to be like, I don't need to make this believable. You guys are already with me that we're like in this town with the corrupt police and the strip clubs and all of this. Like it's the craziest of everything in one town.
Yeah, and it's a fantasy world.
Yes,
like, and it's real world, but it's a fantasy.
And I like that the author actually does take those liberties and moves the story along because even though it's not...
I don't want to read a month of someone's trauma. I'm sorry.
I'm good with the time skip.
Yeah.
Going, this is a month later. I don't need to read a month
it could be.
of it.
I don't know.
But I like that time skip, but I will say that the author's already established for me that the rules of this universe are that things crazy shit's gonna happen, like,
and things move along quick.
Multiple murder mysteries, like that's not gonna happen in society all in one town. But these are the rules of St. View, and I can believe that. And I think if you're a good writer, you can get away with certain kinds of pacing and certain kinds of like jumping the shark. Like, you can do crazy shit if your audience knows what to expect from your writing. And after already having read 6 books by this author, I'm like right there with her, like, oh, I already know the rules of this universe are that we move super fucking fast and shit is hitting the fan before we even open the first page. So I was there for it, but that is one thing, is the pacing's a little crazy. So she's getting eaten out by Fang after this fight where he's like literally been beat to shit. So he's like half concussed eating her out, and it is quite hot. I will say that. I really like their size difference, but I'm like imagining Fang on his knees in front of her, and he's like almost still her height on his knees. And I'm like, he'd really have to crouch down in there to get in that box.
Yeah, you could just pick her up. She's tiny.
Yeah, he could just plop her up. So then it's Kian. So Kian's just met her that day, taken her to the boxing ring. Now he walks in on her getting her box munched out. And he's like, hey, I just wanted to say bye.
Do you need a ride?
Do you want to go back to the house that we're roommates now?
Yeah. And Fang's like, nah, I'll give her a ride. Get on the back of my bike. And she's like, this is sacred. It's not like that. And he's like, it is like that. And we're all like, it is like that, girl. It
is like that. You're his wifey, and he wants you on the back of his bike.
It is like that. Yeah. So then, after they get back to the house, she kind of realizes that Fang probably has a concussion and should not have let her ride on the back of his bike back to the house. So she's like, you need to go to the hospital. Your hand is... she says... his hands were already so giant, and now his hand is swollen to twice its size, and it's massive. It's probably like bigger than her head. She's like, we have to take you to the hospital. You're definitely concussed. Your hand, like something's broken in your hand. Things are bad. So they go to the hospital, and while they're waiting in the ER, she sees one of her attackers, and he's a doctor. Yep. And she goes fight or flight, trauma, like can't move, can't react, is just freaking out, totally frozen. And Fang's like, what's wrong? Oh my God, is that one of the guys? And she says yes. And then Fang goes on a fucking rampage through the hospital. They're calling security. They're running from security through the hospital. Then they hide in a closet, hook up again. It's hot again.
It's a romance novel, and I'm here for the spice, but I'm just like, oh my God, like sort some shit out first. And so
he can't think about anything else. He's concussed. Okay, he just wants.
They're running from the police. They get in this closet. He's like, I got this boner. Can't go out there like that. She's like, let me fix it for you.
But to his, defense, he says no, and then she's like,
yeah, he tries really hard.
Let me, and he's like, okay.
Yeah, so he blows his load in her mouth. They get out of the hospital. They go back to the house where they meet up with Vaughn. Yep. And Kian.
And she's kind of tells them what happened because she drives in like a mad woman. Yep. She's like, I'm in a police chase. And Fang's like, we were not in a police chase.
He's like, that nobody's chasing us. And then basically, so Vaughn is like, what all is going on here? And she's like, these people attacked me. I have nowhere to live. This is why I needed the house to live in. And he's like, okay, I'm going to tell my lawyer to drop everything. Yeah. I'm sorry I was trying to fight you over the inheritance. You can live in the house.
I know you didn't kill our parents.
I'll help you with this revenge plot because I found, he goes to check on his dad's body and he finds a note in his dad's pocket and it's his dad's vows to her mom. And
that he didn't recite.
No, he didn't say them out loud.
But yeah,
it was like a private vow. So he reads the private vows, and in the private vows, he realizes how sincere his dad's love was for her mom. And also that he really cared to build a family with her and that he was going to take care of Rebel. He's a very wealthy man. Yeah. And he wrote right in there, I want to take care of her and her daughter for the rest of my days. Yeah. And so he's like, okay, I need to take care of Rebel because it was my dad's last wish. Yeah. So I drop all the stuff with my lawyer. I'll let her live in the house. We'll figure out the rest later. I'll figure out how I can help my wife and also be fair to Rebel and take care of her. So he's like, I've got your back. Whatever you decide to do about those men, I'll help. And she's like, well, the guy's name is Caleb. And he's like, Caleb Black. I went to school with Caleb Black. Can you describe the other attackers?
Yeah, and then the doctor has a lion tattoo. And so then he's like, oh, I know these three. Like, I was friends with them in college. We were all douchey finance boys together.
And it seems like he might know something, too, about about who
just
they
like
are.
how they are as people, because they're awful.
Yeah,
awful.
and she's like, well, were you friends with them? And he's like, no, I wasn't friends with them. There's a little tiff over that, but she does believe him. Like, he knows of them. He can definitely use his connections to get close to them so that they can enact this revenge plan together. So now all three guys are on board. There's sexual chemistry between Vaughn and Kian. And then Fang is like, he's like buddying up a little bit with...
He's broing with Kian for sure. And Vaughn's irritating him.
Yes,
but
Vaughn
also
is irritating him.
They're like, it's fine.
Also, they're all... Fang knows that Rebel won't choose him. He like has accepted that she doesn't want to settle down with somebody. So he's like, okay, if I can't have her, then it's better to have three people protecting her than just me.
Yeah.
And you guys can protect her in these other ways. Like Kian is her roommate. So now I know that all bases are covered and she is protected.
Yeah.
Which just makes you love Fang even more because he's completely selfless in his love for her.
Yeah. And then so Rebel starts training with Kian. She finally goes back to work at the bar. And when she's at work at the bar, Fang is there, and then Vaughn shows up, and they decide they're going to go back to the Slayers compound for a motorcycle gang party, which we already know and have insight to that there's lots of like public sex, drinking, like they party. And so Rebel knows what they're getting into, but Vaughn has no idea what he's about to walk into when he agrees to go with them. So they all go to the Slayers compound. This is one of my favorite scenes.
Oh, it's good.
So good. So they all go to the Slayers compound. Immediately, the girls are like, this guy is so hot. And Rebel's like, oh, I'm so irritated that they know he's hot because I know he's hot, but I'm in denial about it, about Vaughn. And like Amber and Kiki straight up tell her, like, if that's your man, like, just let us know and we'll back off. And she's like, no, he's not my man. He's not my man.
She's like, he's my stepbrother. And they're like, stepbrother or not, if you want him, we'll lay off. And she's like, I wanted so bad to tell them
yes,
to lay off, but I couldn't. And also in her head, she's like, he's not really my stepbrother, but it's a convenient excuse to keep him at arm's length.
Yes. And so then the girls are immediately like, all right, well, it's fucking on. And so they're all over Vaughn. And then Fang is like kissing on Rebel, and then she's in the heat of the moment, and then his hands are down her pants, and then the girls start like sucking off Vaughn. And while this is happening, Rebel and Vaughn like keep making eye contact across the room. And then Rebel is literally riding Fang's face, and the girls are both taking turns giving Vaughn head, and he looks at Rebel and he says, come with me, or he goes, touch your clit first.
Yeah.
And so Kiki thinks that he's talking to her. Rebel knows that he's talking to her, so she does that. And then he says, come with me. And Kiki again is like, okay, I'm coming. And he locks eyes with Rebel and they come together. And then Fang whisks Rebel off to his room and they hook up. It's great. And then after, though, he's like, I know that you came because Vaughn told you to.
And he's like, because she's kind of like...
She's kind of feeling bad about it.
She feels bad, and I really like her because she's very honest. She just says outright, she's like, I have to tell you. And he's like, you don't have to tell me because I could see with my own two eyes.
Yeah, like, I know. I was there.
And I'm fine with it. And
he just says to her, he's like, I have feelings for you, and if you need other people, like, that's fine with me. Just choose. He's like, I just want you to choose other men that are going to treat you the way I would treat you and take care of you the way I would take care of you. And that's like, love him for that.
And that's also why he let him come to this biker party. He was like, I want you to see that I'm not bringing her anywhere dangerous.
Yeah.
This is like one of her hangouts, and you can be, if you're going to be a part of her life, you can be a part of my life. And so I really love jealousy in a story. And I will say that I really like how jealous Vaughn is of the attention that Fang is able to give Rebel. I really like how jealous Rebel is of the girls who are getting down with Vaughn.
Yeah.
But I love that Fang is not jealous. Like, so there's all of this, emotional stuff going on that is it's really satisfying because you have that jealousy without it being in the wrong direction. Like,
and without it being like competitive jealousy.
Yeah, that's exactly
with the people that you want to be together.
Yes.
Which is great.
Yep.
Best part of a reverse hero.
Absolutely.
Best.
Yep.
The best. So after that happens, that's really awesome. And then Rebel is alone at her house, and Vaughn goes to kind of like suss out Caleb, and he ends up at a coffee shop and he's there with the other two guys. And so he sits at a table next to them and is just like listening to their conversation. It's horrible. They're planning this Halloween party. It's going to be awful. just the way that they speak is the worst, which she writes Caleb great because God, do you hate him?
Yeah.
Every time you, and the Gregory Salinas who voices him is like so good at making you
annoying. Yeah.
The way that he voices that character is top notch because boy, you want to punch someone in the face.
Yes. So he's
when
like
he's speaking, it's so good.
Listening to these three goobers talk, and as he goes to like excuse himself, hearing all that he's like heard, he makes a little bit of noise.
Like
and they
the chair like scrapes, and he's like, "Oh fuck!" And they totally recognize him.
And they're like, "What are you doing here, Vaughn? Are you back in town?" Because he moved away to California to start his life.
He hasn't talked to them because they suck.
Yep. And he's like, "Oh, hey guys, heard you're throwing a party," and they're like, "Yeah, you can come if you want to." And he's like, "Oh, actually, that could work.
Yeah, that could be fun. Can I bring my girl? Is she hot? Well, yeah."
No uggos. That's what they say. No uggos. And he's like, "Okay, I'll bring a couple of friends too." And they're like, "That's fine. We've got plenty of beer."
Yeah.
So he goes back to the crew and he's like, "Okay,
he tells them about the opportunity.
Yeah, we can go to his house and scope it out and get any dirt on him that we can. And Rebel, you'll just stay here." And Rebel's like, "I'm not staying. I'm coming with. I want to confront the place because that's where she was attacked." She's like, "I want to confront the place where I was attacked, and I want to be there to dig up any dirt I can dig up on." So this is where we've got all three of them now planning to like get in costume, go to this party, stake it out, and figure out what they have, what dirt they can get on him.
Yeah, on the three guys. So then the boys are all off doing some shit, and Rebel's alone at the house, and she's like, "I'm gonna bake a cake," because she's so weird and random.
She has ADHD.
Yes.
We read a different romance novel, and the character had ADHD, and I was like, that was just like, it was so like, I felt like it was so overemphasized. Whereas
like the things that she had because of ADHD were like over analyzed and explained.
Yes.
Versus just like, clearly this bitch has ADHD.
Clearly this bitch has ADHD. Yeah. And so like, I really love that about this character. It's mentioned one time and you're like, you didn't like, I like that she mentioned it, but it like really you could already tell that Rebel has ADHD.
And she doesn't bring it up again. She's not like my ADHD, which is great.
And I could have diagnosed Rebel in the other book with ADHD, and I love her for it. So this is really like kind of a hilarious canon moment. She's making cake. She doesn't check that she has the ingredients.
She doesn't have the eggs. So she goes to the neighbor's house, but it's not the neighbor that Kian told her to go to. She went to the neighbor on the other side of the house, and it's this girl who's like a true crime fanatic, and which is such a vibe.
Here's the thing. First person, when we're reading the story, I go, okay, so it's Vaughn's mom is the killer because for some reason, I'm like, she's at this wedding. She's my suspect number one. Then I meet Vaughn's wife and I'm like, nope, it was definitely Vaughn's wife. She did this so that she could collect on the inheritance, pay off her debts. Then I meet this neighbor, this true crime fanatic neighbor. Okay. This is my number one suspect now. This is the only person I'm thinking did it. This neighbor, she goes in to borrow an egg and she's like, "Oh my God, you must be her daughter. I'm so sad she's dead.
Yeah.
What do you know about the case? Because I have my theories." And she's like, "What do you mean?
Like, theories? What do you know about the case?" She's like, "Well, who do you think poisoned them with the pool cleaner?" And she's like, "What?" So this is how we find out that the thing that they died from was a chemical that's found in pool cleaner. I didn't write down what it's called. Don't remember. If you read the book, you might remember, probably not.
So,
pool cleaner.
It's also important to note for listeners of the podcast, Phoebe and I are huge true crime girls. We actually only are podcasting right now because we're obsessed with My Favorite Murder, the true crime podcast.
Which we saw live together.
Yes. And those girls, not only have they inspired us to start a podcast, but they keep us company every single week. If you're not following them, follow them. But I would say we're what you would call murderinos. And
Big time.
A lot of people are like, "Oh, that's creepy. That's weird." No, it's not for us. But for this neighbor, I am very suspicious. Very suspicious.
But also, like, wouldn't you totally be that girl?
I would not only be that girl, I would befriend that girl immediately and be like, "Let's talk about who killed this lady."
Yeah.
But for the purposes of this video, really weird to be this into an investigation and kind of inserting yourself in a way that you should not be inserting yourself. All suspicious because we listen to so much true crime. I'm like, somebody who knows details about the case that were not disclosed to the public, somebody who is asking too many questions, like maybe they're trying to see if anyone suspects them yet. That is all red flags to me. So whatever this bitch's name is, she's my suspect number one as of now. I'd like it noted.
Okay, heard. So the gang decides that they're going to go to the party, so they need costumes because obviously they can't go in there without masks. Like, The doctor knows what Fang looks like. They all obviously know what Rebel looks like. They know Vaughn, but they don't know Vaughn knows them, like Fang and Rebel. So they all need to have masks and shit so nobody recognizes them. So they go into the city to a costume shop, which I love this. She has a comic strip of the scene in the dressing room that you get when you buy the Rebel series from her. And I show it to you. It's great.
Oh, I should print that out. And put it up on the wall.
It's great. So they're in there trying on costumes, and Rebel bursts into Fang, like out to Fang in this little like biker girl outfit. And Fang is immediately like dog on a bone. Like, I have to fuck you right now. And so he like attacks Rebel, picks her up. It's like kissing her, and they stumble into a dressing room, and it's not the one that she was in. And it's also not the one that Fang was in. And they pull the curtain closed, and Vaughn and Kian are outside, also in costume. So Fang is in a Batman costume. She's in this little biker girl costume. Vaughn is in a Robin costume. And Fang is in a Joker costume. And Fang and Rebel are like gonna bone. And she's like, oh, they're right outside. Whatever. I don't fucking care. But she's like, we need a condom.
And they're like...
and Fang's like, oh my God, I don't have my wallet. My wallet's in my pants. I'm in this fucking Batman costume. And we're not in my dressing room. And Vaughn pipes up from outside the curtain. He's like, it's my dressing room. There's a condom in my wallet in there.
No, literally, it's Kian because
Kian hands him one. Yeah, Vaughn's
well,
like, no, that's my dressing room.
And
he's like, I've been married, so I don't have condoms. Yeah.
And Kian is like, you can have my condom. So they give it to him. They fuck. They buy their outfits. They get out of there. They go back home.
But there's a really funny scene while they're fucking, and Rebel's starting to get loud, and
they start humming.
Starts singing really off key outside, which is an ongoing theme. Like, he's always singing really poorly.
I'll also say this about our canon bisexual man. They are like queer flagging him in every way possible.
I'm into it. He's comfortable with sexuality.
Yeah. And
love.
And we can all tell what that is.
He'd be flirting with everybody, which I also love because I know people that flirt with everyone.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm here for it.
Bisexuals, all of us,
yes,
cannot help ourselves.
Yes, they'd be flirting with everybody. It's the best.
I love a bisexual diva.
Yes, it's the best. It's the best. So they decide to go to this Halloween party. Obviously, some other stuff happens, but this is where things get important. So they go to the Halloween party. Rebel dresses up like Catwoman. All the guys are in their same costumes from the scene before. Except Kian has face paint on, obviously. And Vaughn is bitching about being Robin the whole time.
Yep.
All the time.
They get to the gate and they're immediately making people sign a waiver,
but only but the ones that have women with them.
Yeah, only people.
The other guys are just having to turn their phones in, but going straight in. And then the guys that have women with them have to sign like a little contract. Someone has to vouch for the woman. It's really gross, and you're kind of like, sus. It's sus.
It's super sus. And then everyone also has to give their phones to the doorman. So there's no phones allowed inside. So they all get in.
But it's in the yard. They're not inside the house, and the doors are locked. And
the gate outside is locked. So it's an outdoor party, but they're locked in.
Yeah.
And they're locked outside of the house. So they're just like, okay. They kind of immediately divide and conquer because Vaughn is going to go talk to the hosts of the party, try to get in with them, but they agree nobody leaves Rebel by herself.
Kian has like someone from his gym is there, so he's like, oh, go talk to him, like we're gonna act natural. And Fang and Rebel are gonna sneak into the house to go look inside and try to find some like evidence or whatever, just like dirt on these guys so she knows their schedule so she can kill them.
Yep. So they get inside and they walk past like a locked basement door, and then they get into this living room, and something instigates them to talk to each other, and they pull their masks up, Fang and Rebel, so that they're like talking face to face.
Yeah.
They're the only ones who've broken into the house. They don't think anyone else is in there. Yeah. So they're not worried about it.
Yeah. And then Hugh, the doctor
walks in
the front door, and he's like, oh, I'm ready to party. What the fuck are you guys doing in here?
Recognizes both of them from the hospital. And they
freaks out.
Immediately are like, okay, we
have to shut him up.
Like, we can't kill him because there's all these people outside, but we need to shut him up. So they like make a plan that Fang is going to bring him outside, tie him up outside, basically leave him, and let him know, we are coming for you. We're going to kill you. And he's like, just kill me now.
He's like, kill me now. And Rebel's like, I'm not letting you die right now. Like, you're not going to know when I come for you, but I'm coming for you and you will die. And it like pisses his pants. And then Fang like gives him a kneecapping, and he's like crying and screaming, and he's like, really? You're gonna cry and scream over this after you fucking raped that woman? Like, what's wrong with you? Meanwhile, she goes in, she's like, our phone, she snuck her phone in. She had like she put it inside her little bodysuit. So she's like, my purse and my phone are inside. Our masks are inside. I have to go grab them. So she goes inside and the front door locks behind her. And she's like, good. That means Fang will stay outside. And that's good because he shouldn't come in here because he's going to freak out, blah, blah, blah. So she's kind of sneaking around and she's going to go back into the party to get Kian and Vaughn, and they're going to leave. Like they're ready to leave. And while she's inside going to grab her stuff, she grabs it and then she's going through to try to sneak back out the back door, and Caleb comes in. And he's talking and she's like, oh, fuck. So she goes to hide and she just picks a door. She goes, and it's a basement door. And so she goes down into the basement. It's pitch black. She's like feeling her way around, looking for a room. Like there's no room. There's no room. She like hears him getting closer, and she finally like feels a door behind her, and she goes into the room. And then we switch to Kara's perspective. So earlier in the book, we have one chapter in Kara's perspective, and you're kind of like, who the fuck is this? And it turns out it's a girl who has been raped by Caleb. She's pregnant, and she shows up to, tell him like, you're gonna pay for this baby. Like, you're gonna pay me off basically to not report you as a rapist, because now I have, like, you told me I didn't have proof. Well, now I do have proof. Your fucking DNA is in me because there's a baby. Like, yeah. I have proof, and there's no way you're getting out of this. And when she does that, he attacks her. And now we find out that he's been keeping her hostage this whole time.
Down in the basement. So
we jump to her perspective. She's listening in. She heard their plans for the party. She's like, great, this is my opportunity. Someone will hear me. But it's so loud. Everyone's outside. No one can hear her. But she like hears someone walking around. And so she's trying to make noise through like her gag, and Rebel hears her from the other side of the wall. And so they start talking through the wall, and Rebel, obviously she can't respond, but Rebel's like, okay, stay silent for no, knock for yes. And so she's kind of sussing out what's going on with Kara. She finds out she's been kidnapped by Caleb, that nobody knows that she's here. And Rebel's like, I have 3 men with me here. Like, we're going to get you out. And right when that's happening, we're in Kara's perspective, and Rebel gets attacked. And so Caleb's found her. She puts up a fight, and Kara can hear her putting up a fight, and then it goes silent.
Meanwhile, the boys are all outside in the yard when
this is so horrible.
The third guy.
This is so horrible.
This is so horrible. So the third attacker of Rebels is outside. He makes an announcement to everyone. He's like, shut up. The music cuts, and he goes, everyone, you've all signed waivers for the women you brought here today. You've agreed that they're free use.
Yeah.
And on your marks, get set, go. And all these men start chasing after the few women.
It's like hundreds of, like 200 men or something.
Yeah, and like a handful of women, and they're just chasing down the women. They're calling it a primal party.
And they're like gang raping
these women.
It's awful.
And our 3 boys who we know and love are like, oh my God, Vaughn, did you know this was going to be this kind of party? Yeah. He's like, no, I didn't. We have to find Rebel.
Yeah, they're freaking out. Well, they're like, we have to help them. And then they realize, like, we can't take on all of these men. And like, we have to find Rebel and get our phones so we can call the police.
So they immediately like try to call Rebel. Rebel doesn't answer.
Fang had found the bucket of their phones when he was outside with Hugh, and so he had retrieved all the boys' phones.
Yep.
So that's how they're trying to call Rebel.
And Kian is like, I follow her on Snapchat, so I can look at her Snapchat.
Yeah, maybe she left. Like, we don't know. And her location's back at the house.
So they're like, wait.
He's like, oh, she went home? Like, maybe she got an Uber? Like, this is so weird. But, like, maybe she knew shit was going down and she needed to get out of here. And they go out front. They're like, okay, we'll just go back to the house. They go out front. Garage is open. Caleb's fucking douchey-ass Lamborghini is gone, and they know that's bad news because they watched him pull up while they were waiting to get into the party. They're
like, the only way that she couldn't have gotten an Uber, waited for an Uber, got back home by this time. The only way she could be back home already is if Caleb found her and took her back there. Yeah. So they know that. They call the police. The police are on their way to the party.
Vaughn calls Caleb. And Caleb answers, and is his douchey self, and he's like, fuck you, Vaughn. Fuck you. Fuck this bitch, like, in her stupid little, it's awful. It's so awful.
He's like, scream for them. So Rebel screams, and they can hear her. And then we know that they're like...
They're on the way, but we don't know if they're going to be too late. And then we jump to Rebel's perspective like 5 minutes earlier.
Yep.
So she's in the car. She wakes up in the car. She's dazed. She's obviously been drugged by Caleb. And she's like a little woozy, but she's kind of egging him on because she's like, fuck you. Like, you will not beat me, which I love that she like had this gusto after everything. And he's yelling at her, blah, blah, blah. They're having a conversation and she's kind of egging him on. And she's like, she hears the sirens. Like, they can't, he's trying to get the code to the house. She won't give it to him. And she's like, I'm going to drown you in the pool. Fuck you. Like, they're going to kill you and when they find us. And so he takes her out to the pool and she's like, I can hear the sirens. You lost. And he's like, was gonna stab her. Like, he had a knife and he's like, I was gonna like frame your murder, like the guys for your murder, but fuck you. And like rips off her clothes, takes pictures of her like naked, which is so gross. And then the fucking book ends with her throwing her into the pool, tied up to a chair.
Yep.
And she just is sinking to the bottom. Book end. Book over. The end.
Cliffhanger.
For now. So brutal. Sorry, that was loud, but oh my god, so brutal.
Maybe the worst cliffhanger so far of all the books. And so, she's literally like drowning at the end of this book. And we know the boys are on their way back.
But we don't know how close they are. Like, we don't know. And we find out that when the boys are on the phone with Caleb, they say, we called the police. And he says, like, I already paid off the police. They're not going to show up to the party. So we know, like, nothing's going to happen for those women. So that's just awful.
Those women are all going to get attacked. And then when Rebel is egging him on and saying shit to him, he says about Kara, he says, she's just as dead as you are.
Yeah.
And so we're also wondering, is Kara alive?
Yeah.
Is he lying?
Yeah.
Is she really dead?
Yeah. And then you're like, well, if we kill Caleb, what's going to happen to Kara? Because like, if Rebel's dead and Caleb's dead, nobody knows that she exists.
Yep. And he could have killed her before he got her in the car. Like, we have no idea. So there's a lot of, we don't know who killed their parents. We don't know if Kara's alive or dead.
And we kind of get some backstory into Kara's upbringing. She comes from a super religious family. Her father's very oppressive. Mm-hmm. She's in a family of all women who are encouraged, that they're super religious. But he tells her when she calls home, because she's freaking out, she's alone, she's been raped, and now she's pregnant. She calls home to tell her mom, and her dad gets on the phone, and he's like, you abort that baby and you come home. And she's like, I'm not doing that. And he's like, you don't come home with that baby, but you come home. And she's like, I'm not going to do that. And so she thought when she approached Caleb, like, I have this figured out, like, he's going to have to take care of this baby because, like, it's proof that it's his. So there's DNA, like, I'm going to get money from him. We're going to be okay. And obviously the opposite of everything that she thought was going to happens because Caleb's a fucking monster.
And nobody is looking for her now because her own family knows that she's like decided to do this by herself.
And they're not looking for her. Yeah.
They're not worried.
Nobody's
worried
about her except now Rebel. But Rebel just got thrown in a fucking pool, tied to a chair. So.
And this lady's been like held in a basement pregnant. So we don't know how that pregnancy is going.
Yeah.
I have spoilers because I accidentally let the book play to the next preview book. And also Princess has told me some spoilers about who other books are about. So I'm like, I have some ideas.
I've said them on this podcast. Everybody forget about it.
Everyone forget about it if you didn't already hear.
La 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 la. But they're really good books.
So
I can't wait to read them next.
Predictions for this story. Obviously, Kian and
Vaughn are finally going to get together. Yeah, love.
We do find out
that Kian and Rebel and Vaughn and Rebel, like, none of them have hooked up yet.
Yeah. So obviously they're going to get together. We know who our like canon gay couple within the polycule is. And then predictions. I definitely don't like that neighbor. I don't like that she was introduced to the story at all. There's no reason for her to be there unless she is the killer. So that's my prediction for that.
Okay.
My prediction for Caleb, unfortunately, is that because I accidentally listened to the next one, I'm like, he's not going to die anytime soon. So I don't think he's going to die until the third book. And I hope that he dies in the third book.
Yeah.
And do we have any other predictions I should try?
No, those were the predictions that I wanted you to say. Okay, who's your delusional boyfriend?
Who do you think my delusional boyfriend is from this?
Well, I think it's Fang because he's the only boyfriend, but it could be Vaughn. I just feel like, I don't know. What were you gonna say?
I had the hardest time picking my delusional boyfriend from this because Fang is like at kind of everything for me.
Yeah.
But then you told okay, but also Kian is this
Yeah, I love him.
bi diva who is just like I love everything about Kian.
And I feel like he's our first like guy in the involved that is openly bi before anything happens.
That's it.
Which is kind of fun.
He has no shame about
Yeah.
it. It's like it's fully his personality.
And he like
which
I love the way that he keeps bringing it up and like giving Vaughn shit. Love that.
Yes, and I think that I'm going to like Vaughn more in the next books because he is really jealous of Kian. Like Kian looks at somebody in this book and he gets really jealous about it. Kian brings up the fact that he used to like jerk him off and he gets like super blushy about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes those characters like end up stealing my heart because he's just like, I don't know. He's really, Vaughn is really flawed in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I like that about him. Fang is so perfect for me in every way.
Yeah.
And I love that about him.
He's my delusional boyfriend for this book. I wrote, Fang baby, we love a big giant scary teddy bear.
So that's like,
But just for this book, like I think it changes
In
for
the
the
next
next
ones?
one for me. But
I really want.
I was like so here. I was like, Rebel, just come on because I love him. In the last book, like in Psychos, I was like, girl.
So
Girl.
I want to say that for this book, it should be Fang. Everything says it should be Fang, but it's Kian because he's just like right off the bat, he's like, Rebel, you and me are besties.
Yeah.
He's
and
like,
he calls her Little Demon, which I love. That's my favorite nickname. So Fang calls her Pix for Pixie. Vaughn calls her Roach because he tells her she's like a little cockroach.
can't be killed.
Yeah. And then Kian calls her Little Demon, which is my favorite.
And I love Little Demon.
Yeah.
I love that he's not.
Wow, leave that in.
Leave that in. I love Kian because he calls her Little Demon. He like says we're best friends. It's us against the world.
Yeah.
He teaches her how to fight and he knocks her on her ass time and time again. He likes girly pop music. If I just pretend like
He's a morning person.
not a redhead, he's a morning person. He also, he's just like really patiently waiting for other people to come around. Like whatever is going on with Vaughn, he's not like pushing Vaughn. Whatever is going on with Rebel, he's like, just know the offer stands. You ever come to my room, I'll fuck you good. But like he's not pushing it. And I just like his chemistry between him and Fang. I like everything about Kian so far. I just think he's going to be like the glue that kind of he is the common thing that they all kind of can agree on.
And he's like the one that, he's so agreeable that he can kind of like bring the whole crew together for sure.
And
which I do love.
I will say that I think he is definitely just also, I love a bi king. I love somebody who's just like,
and he continues to be like that the whole series.
Yeah. I love that he just goes up to Vaughn and he's like, I used to jerk you off and I'm not afraid to talk about it even though you're still in the closet and like I'll also go fuck Rebel and I'm not afraid to do either one of those things.
Yeah.
And I just everything about him. I have some questions about his relationship with Vaughn's dad and his wife. Like there's some questions in the story about if they were having a threesome or whatever.
Because there's like all these pictures of all three of them in their bedroom. But also it's like, but Vaughn stopped talking to his dad, so it's kind of like his kid.
And they were best friends growing up, so like he's part of that family. Yeah. But I would say like I feel so bad for Fang because he did nothing. He did everything to win me over in this one, but Kian is just like something also doesn't help Fang that you're 100% straight, and I'll just say that
I know, I was gonna say, Courtney, you love a gay man, and he is the most like outwardly feminine male that we've had in any of the series so far, and that's like your favorite person.
Yeah, but in my head, Vaughn is smaller and like a little bit more. He's like got a facial.
He's tall, but he's slim, and he's a pretty boy.
Yeah, and then so then Kian, but everything about Kian being a good cook and like just the way he takes care of Rebel and immediately is like, I'll kill for you. I just met you today. Yeah, you can live here. I just met you today. Like,
he's down.
I love that. So he's my delusional boyfriend for this series. I would absolutely date him in real life. And I
would not date Fang in real life. I'd probably date, I don't know. I don't like when people fight, which makes me not want to date Kian either in real life, but
he's always winning, so he's not in danger.
Yeah, but he's fighting. I just don't like it. I
know.
think it's hot.
I do think it's hot.
I know you do.
I do think it's hot. And also I think it's hot that I don't have to worry about him because he's going to win the fight. So I would definitely date him in real life. I would date Vaughn in real life, and I would date Fang in real life.
No, he rides a motorcycle every day. You would not.
That's the thing, is that you'd think I wouldn't, because I wouldn't date War in real life. But Fang is different. Fang is like a monster, and like if I'm gonna date a monster, I'm not gonna try to like restrict. I would date Fang,
which
IRL.
You would have a great time climbing him like a tree.
I was just gonna say, like, I can like picture Fang in my head, and like as scary as he sounds, I'm just like, oh, wouldn't scare me. Love him. Yeah. So I would definitely date all 3 of these boys in real life, and all 3 of them are already contenders to beat out everybody from the other books. And that's crazy, because I mean, when you're in the series, it's easy to say I like these guys better than the last series because you forgot how much you like them.
Yeah, but I also think that you like the female main character the most in this series. Much. And so that is like a big driving force for you too. Because you're like, yes, I like her. She's more like you.
Yep.
And so then it's like, well, these men are obviously better for me.
Yes, her personality is like mine, so she would choose men like me.
But I feel you, because every time I read like a new one, I'm like, oh no, this is the favorite one. Yeah.
But they're definitely...
I can't wait for the new book.
If Vincent,
the new books. I can't wait.
Vincent and War were my favorite from the last one. I would say all 3 of these boys have a lot of potential to overthrow all of them. And like, yeah. What about you?
Well, my favorite is in the next series, but he's just really hot. And also, here's the thing. In the next series, there's like a single dad. I mean, not single dad, but like dad to a kid that's not theirs kind of vibe. Yeah. And I think it's really hot. I'm really into that. So I think that's also part of the reason why like those guys are my favorite. Because I just love a man that likes a child. But up until this point, I mean, I really like these guys. I love Fang. Like, I loved Fang in the last series, too. I was like, low-key love him. Yeah. So,
and the size difference between him and Rebel is the best size
he could toss me around, and I would like that.
Yeah.
I would like that very much.
Yeah. Somebody looks at them funny, and he's like, I know they're thinking about how we would even fit together. And I was like, I'm thinking about how you guys would fit together.
And I want to see it.
Yeah. Absolutely, I do. You're like the pencil, and she's like the eraser.
Like, how is it gonna work? Nobody knows, but we're here to see it.
The ratio is glory.
Yes. Yeah.
So I've listened to the Feeling Girly podcast with Dylan Carlino, and he's giving advice to straight women about their problems, and he always talks about how men are sickos and they just love little tiny women. And he's like, if you're a gay guy, it doesn't matter. Like, I like big guys, I like little guys, but like straight men love a short, tiny little woman who's a quarter of their size. And I was like, women love that too. We also love the size difference. So
yeah, a 7 foot tall man is my dream.
Literally my dream.
I'm 5'2", just so you all know, for reference.
And I know maybe this isn't universal, but I have a 6'5" husband, and I'm like not tall enough. So I'm just
I feel you. My high school boyfriend 6'5",
and it's just like could be taller. Like, you're kind of
7 feet is the goal.
Yeah. So I definitely love all of these boyfriends. I would date them all IRL, and I cannot wait to see which one becomes my favorite going forward. But I already know that Vaughn and Kian's shit is going to be very fun. Rebel's already said that she would love to see them together. And I have a lot of excitement about this series. Yeah. I have less excitement about Kara's series because Kara's fucking life is a shit show, and I'm just like, don't know how
it's gonna get worse before it gets better.
And also, that character is just, again, like a very inexperienced, naive, good girl. And, like, I'm going to be sad to leave Rebel. So I'm really excited to finish the next 2 books in this series. If you guys are listening to...
I'm not going to tell you why Rebel's involved, but she's still involved in the next series.
Good.
We'll find out in this series why. And I don't think you're going to see it coming, like how it's all connected, but it's good.
Okay.
It was a good twist. I didn't see coming. It's not like it is a plot twist, but not in the way that you would think. And I was just like, oh shit, I did not see that coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I'm very, very excited. All the romance novel episodes will be released on the 25th, as always. So if you're excited about this series, make sure you tune in next month for the second volume. Do you know what the name is of the second one?
Yeah, it's called Rebel Obsession.
Rebel Obsession. So Rebel Obsession will be August romance novel reverse harem of the month. If you guys are not reading along for the BL manga, BL manhwa, and BL anime, I urge you to do so. It's super fun. I know that it's a little bit more niche even than reverse harem romance novels. Like if you could get any more niche, I have, and I would love you guys to jump on that bandwagon and join me for those episodes. So if you're into it, give it a shot. If you have any questions about where to find those stories or how to watch them, please hit me up on socials. I respond to all my DMs. So make sure you follow us on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube.
And also, we're trying to figure out the schedule for next year. So if you have any books that you really want us to cover, like put them in the comments.
Yep.
So we're starting to put together next year's calendar. And so we want to do what you guys want to do. So
yeah. And if you guys have suggestions for next year and you want to email them in, email to Courtney, Courtney, DBBC@outlook.com. And you guys can tell me who your delusional boyfriend is from what series and recommend that I go read that and put it on the calendar for next year. So
yeah,
with all that being said, thank you so much for joining us. This is so much fun. I can't wait to cover the rest of the series and figure out what's happening with this cliffhanger. And until next time, remember, sometimes the delusion
is a solution.
Bye.
The way that we just moved everything together.
Okay.